Hello and welcome to the KSW Painting Euro V8 SuperCar Series live on Apex Racing TV. We're here for the season finale of Season 5 of this championship. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Marco Barbier. And Marco, the championship looks almost set. Nico Poggi has driven an almost sublime season so far, 9 victories to his name, by far the most of any of the drivers, and despite a slightly difficult last round at Alton Park here in the depths of Norfolk, he should be able to finish off the job and claim his first title in this championship.
Yes, hello everyone. Hello Sam. Sam, of course, it must be quite a nice day for you, hosting the final round of the season very close to your home, which is always nice. I would love to be able to say that myself. The closest track to my house is like 4 hours away, if you are quick with the car. Uh, and we are in for the traditional bonanza, the triple header that we have every year at the end of the season. This time, like we were saying, Snetterton 200 layout. And yes, you are right, Nicole Foggy here on your screen right now is the clear-cut favorite. He is basically in the same position that his teammate Johnny Brandon was last season. Reverse positions between the two of them. That time it was Johnny who just needed to basically bring the car home clean to score some points and secure the title. Nicole will be in the same position today. So I think it's mandatory that he takes it easy and he doesn't take any unnecessary risks. This also might, open the door to other drivers to maybe, snatch a win here and there. Remember, we have a random reverse for race 2, and we are due for a big reverse. And then in race 3, it will be a full reverse, no pit stops, no strategy, pedal to the metal, go like hell, and let's see who emerges victorious, not only in the championship, of course, but in each of the 3 races today. And we are starting, if I am not mistaken, quite early in the day, at least in sim time. Let's put it on your screen. Yes, it's quite early, as you can see. It is 8:20 in the morning. Will they be allowed to run this early on the track,
Ooh.
or will residents be, the surrounding areas be not very happy? Because in Italy we have a lot of these issues at some tracks. Monza, for example, comes to mind, but also others.
Well, there's not too many houses nearby, I
Yeah.
believe. I don't know the surrounding area too well. I just know that, you drive down the A12, as many Norfolk residents will. I know Clyde Whiting does live in Norfolk himself, so he will probably know better than me, to be honest. The league organizer and championship contender in the club championship. We will just have a word on that very soon. But no, I think it would probably be okay. They have a lot of events around this circuit through the year. Very active circuit. And, well, absolutely should be, because this 200 layout in particular is a fantastic course. In that club championship, by the way, it is very close, actually. Gary Croft leads the way by 131 points over Clyde Whiting. Croft has had the advantage in recent weeks, and he's got advantage in qualifying at the moment, as qualifying just coming to an end, actually, as we speak. So, going to be tough for Whiting to claw some points back. And Croft well on course to becoming a pro driver for next season. The checker flag is out, so the drivers can put in their final times. And well, currently the grid looks very intriguing indeed. Often in this series, we do see a slight drop off in quality at the end of the championship. If anything, today, this is one of the strongest grids of the entire season. Everyone's come back for the final round of the championship. A few drivers who have come very close to race victory so far this season, McClay and Stadler and Warmingham and also Jackson as well. Drivers who really deserve a race victory by this point in the season haven't claimed one yet. They maybe see this as an opportunity to get a mark on the board, even if the championship is slightly out of reach. As yeah, just a couple more corners, a couple more drivers to complete their lap times, and we'll be able to go through your grid.
Yes, I'm having a bit of an issue with the drivers who are apparently showing only in their class and not in the overall. Hopefully, it will be sorted very soon. At the same time, let's go in just a second through the starting grid as we are waiting for a few drivers. I jumped the gun maybe a bit. No, qualifying is basically almost over, so we should be ready to give you the starting lineup for race 1 of 3.
Yes, and it's Johnny Brandon taking the pole position. Really strong qualifying for him. Only half a tenth ahead of George McClay in second, with Chris Jackson in third. Tony Klusman, second in the championship currently, starts in fourth, just ahead of the championship leader Nico Foggy in fifth. Must be not Foggy's worst qualifying of the season, but he's only quarters of a second of pole position. That's how close it is today. Hal Stadler, best of the rest, really in sixth place, with Richard Waring in seventh. Let's go Croft. Of course, club championship leader. He just needs a couple of good results today to secure that championship in eighth. Nikolai Bogatyrev starts in ninth with Philip Antonia rounding out the top 10. Behind that is Anthony Woodward. Clyde Whiting, Fleet Smith, and Chris Coolan. Good to see those two drivers in that inaugural races today. Andrew Hoffman, Katie Rose-Ferrante, and Michael Frost. And hopefully, Victor Tanaka will be taken to the grid as well, because he could be a big danger if he does. Currently, he's not on the grid, so he's not looking too positive. But so too aren't many of the drivers. A 2-minute gridding up process. And Marco, are we going to see something quite spectacular? This is a great opportunity at a fantastic race.
Absolutely, it is. I think that it's going to be great race. We are going to have, it's going to be a quick one, like we said. We're just waiting for a couple of drivers to come to the grid. Tony Klusterman, notable absentee right now.
Here he is. And I think we are about to get going here. The final race of the season. Johnny Brandon from the pole position, George McClay in second. And away we go at Snetterton. And it's a really good start for Brandon. Falls way clear of the rest of the field. McClay just about backing off from Jackson as Klusman is going to try to go round the outside of his teammate. There could be contact. There is contact between the two Never Quit Racing drivers. And Jackson falls down the order immediately. Almost comes spinning back onto the circuit. And now we got another car into the wall. And
no, we have a
plenty of
pile-up.
incidents. Fleet Smith is one of those drivers involved. Also, Gary Croft, the AM Championship leader, he needs to hope he hasn't got too much damage. Also, so it's Smith, Jackson, Woodward, Hoffman, and I think Croft and a few others as well, getting a lot of damage from all of that. Clyde Whiting, I think, has got away kind of error-free there. But absolute crazy starts, and we've got a few retirees potentially. Philip Antonio just having a bit of an off in the background. There's Richard Warmium, goes past Nikolai Bogatyrev. He's already up one position.
Okay, interesting start to the proceedings tonight with some... that hairpin, of course, it's always going to be a trouble spot, I would say. The championship contenders made it through, so Brandon McClay, Klusterman, Foggy, Stadler, your top 5, as the first lap out of 15 is in the books.
Potentially quite a difficult track this to overtake round. It's going to be turn 1, and maybe this hairpin, your best opportunities. How much of a risk is Brandon going to take? He wants to get another race victory. He already got 3 of them so far this season, but with the issues he's had, particularly with hardware, where he's missed, I believe, at least 4 individual races from this season. If it weren't for that, he could well be on a lot more points than he is. But he is leading there at the moment. George McClay really putting pressure on. This is the issue of overtaking. That's the longest straight. You'd think the best opportunity, but it's very much single file through this couple of corners. And then the second half of the lap, really no opportunity whatsoever. McClay just dropping back. And they're just holding station at the moment. It's going to be fascinating to see if McClay can do anything against Brandon in the remaining, 13 laps of this race.
Absolutely. Let's see just a look at what happened there. But before that, we have Anthony Woodward. You can see him here, putting some pressure on Chris Jackson, the 2 teammates for NQR. Getting into these, what looks like a chicane, but in reality it is not. It's one of the toughest corners I have ever driven on. I mean, it's so difficult. And so, you need to have the braking point. Basically, you have to brake 2-3 times, go down a couple of gears, and then in the middle of the corner you have to brake again, basically. It's absolutely a nightmare. But also very very interesting for the drivers. Always a big challenge and a passing spot as Foggy and Klusterman are fighting it out for P3 right now.
Yeah, in these V8 supercars, really difficult to keep the rear in check there, especially with the change of direction. Policeman just struggling a little bit at the moment. You can see that damage he picked up after the contact with his own teammate Chris Jackson. Seemed as though Policeman maybe came across Jackson, but either way, you got to say the two drivers that should have been able to stay out of each other's way in those opening couple of corners because, well, he had the opportunity of a two-pronged attack, but very much it's just a single prong now, and that prong is Tony Policeman with his teammate way down the order. It's not too much of an opportunity for team games out there. You got Foggy and Brandon, of course, teammates, but at the same time they're kind of fighting for the championship, so they're not going to help each
Ooh,
other too much. As just going off
Michael
the circuit,
Frosty.
there's one of the back markers, Michael Frost, and he's going to try to not cause too much issues for Jazz, and he does well there just to reverse off the circuit and let these guys go.
I just wanted to point out Harald Stadler in P5, and look at that, a beautiful, absolutely beautiful tribute livery for Niki Lauda, and this is based of course on the Brabham that he drove in F1 back in the days. Absolutely fantastic touch, of course Harald being from Austria, so a compatriot of Niki, and that is absolutely a beautiful touch and perfectly integrated into the Atomic Motorsport brand and livery as well. So very very nice touch there from Harald, and right now he's sitting very nicely in P5, looking good for a good result in race 1.
Absolutely. Shall we go back to lap 1, see what caused the mess that was turn 1 with Never Quit Racing drivers, along with that big pile-up as well soon after. It was a great start as well from Jackson. If anything, that was the thing that hindered him. He got a really good start, but then really failed to get the power down. Did Kliesman come across here? Yeah, he did a bit, didn't he, Marco? Well, he didn't facilitate for his teammate too much there, did he?
Yes, but also I don't know. Oh, that was a completely unrelated crash there. That was trying to find out who that car was that spun there. Maybe Clyde Whiting, and so it's always unfortunate when something like this happens. In the end, I'm surprised that only one car, or sorry, no cars were taken out. Now we have Michael Frost in the pits due to some damage, I would imagine, and so it could have been a lot worse. Of course, you never want things like this to happen, but still, let's see. Let's see how it goes. By the way, we have still a very very close fight for the race win. Brandon, McClay, Klusterman, and Foggy. I promise I'm going to work on the overlay graphics in between race 1 and race 2. Right now, I think it's better that we concentrate on the racing, also because I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, Nicole Foggy and Klusterman, and then Brandon and McClay. They are two mini groups, I should say, two pairs of drivers. As they go into this super tough final corner, you have to start braking while you are turning, and that is never a good idea, but such is the way the track is laid out. And then you can use a bit of the runoff area there, and then push hard, as lap 7 will start right now, so we are already halfway through the proceedings here in race 1, and due to that contact earlier, I think that most of the field is spread out, but for the important positions, well, they are all together, and it is going to be a great fight between these four guys, as Johnny locks his front right just a bit there. But it's going to be tough for Johnny to run away from these three opponents that he's got behind him, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and spinning up his rear tyres a little bit on the exit of turn 3 as well. She just needs to watch that because you don't want to heat the tyres up too much in these V8 supercars, otherwise it can really cost you. No changes of tyres in any of these races. The Kliesman is wide, and that's going to be third position gone for the Canadian. And this race for Never Quit Racing really not going very well, almost spinning it again. He's trying to come back against Foggy. realizes that this is his best opportunity, but that is just an unforced error, it must be said, from Tony Klusman. A rare unforced error. It's something that he's really improved on this season, not making as many mistakes whatsoever. It's been crucial for him to win 4 races so far in this championship. And yeah, just too much speed on entry, but it was the fact they didn't quite admit it soon enough and went a little bit wide, couldn't get the power down on the grass, and yes, moves down to 4th position. And certainly, opponent's going to be tough from this place now, but he's trying to come back against Foggy, who would now try to chase down the top 2 seconds to gain.
Yes, absolutely. Rare mistake from Tony. Brandon right now and McClay, thanks to this, have run away for just a bit. Let's give up some, we have some nice things, so let's use them. Should have on your screen right now a comparison of the sectors between Brandon and Foggy and see if Nicole is gaining on his teammate there in the lead. And apparently he is gaining, but only fractionally in this lap. Let's see, when one of the few tracks on iRacing that has only 3 sectors, so I'm a bit scared of using this new feature when we, if we come back to the Nordschleife in one of the series we
Yes.
cover. I remember when we did the BSR Porsches there, and it was a nightmare to follow the sectors. But yeah, Brandon is lapping quicker than Foggy, especially in Sector 3. Brandon has pulled away, so first 2 sectors they are basically identical, and third sector slightly in favor of Johnny in this lap.
Yeah, this is quite reminiscent, this car and this track as well, quite reminiscent to like a typical Monaco Grand Prix, where the concertina effect is so evident, where the driver ahead is obviously always going to get on the power fraction of a second earlier than you, and then they're just ever so pulling away all the way down the straight. And it's really difficult to overcome that because so many of these corners are very slow. You'll see Brandon just ahead. It sounds obvious, but he just gets on the power that much bit earlier and moves ahead. Moving ahead as well is Fleet Smith. He's got ahead of Katie Taranto.
Nice car,
And
by the way. Nice livery. Absolutely beautiful. Simple but effective, and also he's driving a Ford, so
yes, very good.
big thumbs up.
McClay is almost in range for a move into turn 2. Because this turn 2 used to be just a kind of sweeping 90-degree corner. Used to be much better, it must be said. But admittedly, it's much more of an overtaking opportunity now. And, well, one of the most obvious opportunities on the circuit. And, well, considering that the rest of the circuit is pretty difficult to overtake, perhaps needed as Brandon makes a bit of a mistake. Taking a lot of curb and almost runs wide as well. But he's going to have to make a bigger mistake than that if he's going to relinquish this lead.
Yes, Chris Coughlin is in front of them, lapped car, as you can see, with a typical Scottish livery, if I am not mistaken. He moves out of the way diligently as the leaders go past. And of course, in this series, and this is going to be important on a track like this, you need to be on the lead lap to be eligible for the reverse, and it's quite easy to go down one lap. You can see they're lapping in 1 minute 9, so especially if you encounter troubles very early in the race, it is tough to stay on the lead lap, and we have already 2 drivers that are out of it. Of course, Michael Frost is having some issues and think he's retired. So Chris Coughlin is the first car to be lapped on the track. The next in line will be Gary Croft as Tony Klusterman is in the daisies and down to 6th place, maybe 7th. Here comes Bogatayrev, and so another mistake from Tony.
Yeah, he wasn't too close to Foggy. He was trying to keep up. Oh, was it with the back marker?
Oh, it was.
Oh, it was. And Tony there, well, he won't be pleased with Chris Colin because Chris's first ever race, but at the same time, Tony maybe could have offered a little bit more space and instead kind of took the corner, expecting his rival to back out of it. But yeah, Colin was doing everything to get out of the way there, to be fair. He couldn't have done too much more.
I think it's a case of, maybe a loss of spatial awareness, by the drivers there. Certainly, he did everything he could, Chris, to move out of the way. It happens sometimes. It's very, very unfortunate. But disaster for Tony. The only silver lining is that he could have, judging by how the reverses have been this season, seventh place could be very well be pole position or second place. So, we didn't have any massive reverse. Of course, I am trying to say this many times over today in order to finally have like a big reverse, even though we are
Yeah.
guaranteed one in the end. But two is better than one. Which was a slogan of an ice cream in Italy in the 90s. Two is better than one, but in Italian English, so it was a bit, spaghetti English. I don't know if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm trying to also bring summer in Italy, which seems like it's not coming. Raining today as well. So,
Oh dear.
and tomorrow big national holiday, of course. But yeah, it will be spent under the rain, sadly. Who cares? Staying at home to watch the man 24 hours on iRacing. Brandon, Maclay, Foggy. This is the top three. Ara Stadler running a solid P4. What an improvement for him. Of course, a debutant this season, and he has really cemented himself as one of those guys that I think Sam should be considered as one of those guys that should things fall his way, could really bring home a race victory. Maybe even today, who knows?
Yeah, perhaps. Unfortunately for him, the strength in depth today is very strong. Kind of needs a race where there's maybe only a couple of slightly faster drivers, as Klusman is going to go to the inside of Bogatai. Is Bogatai going to give him room? No. And Klusman having to take a lot of grass on the inside there. They've got Philip Antonio right on their tails as well. Klusman trying to get into the top 6. If he does get into the top 6, then he's guaranteed to get within that reverse grid. So this is quite important. Of course, the reverse grid could be more than 6, in which case he doesn't want to overtake him, but I'm sure he'd rather take the security of 6th position, and if he could get 6th position, he would be ahead of all his main rivals, crucially. So that would be very important. Klusman looking to the inside, Bogdaev covers it early. Now Klusman's going to try to go to the outside here. There's not usually much of an opportunity, and now there's contact between the two of them. That's Klusman's third contact in this race, and now he might have contact again with Philip Antonia, who's looking for every which way to get past. Is Antonia going to back out of this one? Klusman's going to have to defend right to the inside, and Antonia surely isn't going to make his way around the outside here on the two-time champion. And no, he decides to back out of it. But and Klusman's wide again. He doesn't particularly like that corner, seemingly, and he's losing time to the car ahead. Almost contact again, and both of them get a little bit of a wiggle on. Now 1.5 seconds. Klusman's got to catch. He's going to have another go at Bogatai.
Sale la Blanca, white flag. Johnny Brandon pulling away at the crucial time over George McClay, trying to bring home a nice race victory, which will give him another one. He's got very good statistics, especially in the past couple of years. Nicole Foggy will be very, very happy with his position there, as Philip Antonia gets past Tony Klusterman, who I think is having some big issues. That car is not sounding right.
No, he's not putting any throttle down. He needs a helping hand from one of his teammates, perhaps. He wants to stay on the lead lap, does Klusman. And this is not the way he wanted this race to go. But out in the lead, Johnny Brandon, this has been the perfect race for him. He's going to gain some points on the championship leader, but more importantly, he's going to take his 5th race victory of the season and move up into 2nd place in the championship as well. Johnny Brandon wins race 1 at Snetterton. He beats George McClay and Nicole Foggy on the podium, with Harold Stadler finishing a distant 4th in the end. Now, what is going on with Tony Klusman? I believe he's had to go back to the pits. He has disconnected from the session, in fact, and so he's going to finish 1 lap down. He will not be within the reverse grid, and Klusman's day has just taken a big turn for the worse. This is what happened to him. Fighting, of course, with Bogotayev earlier on. Contact between the two of them as he had with Colin and his own teammates, Chris Jackson, earlier on.
Did he blow his engine? No? Strange. It is quite strange, I must say. But yeah, a controversial finish to race 1. And I think, no, we are waiting for some. I was jumping the gun, but we still have Gary Croft out on the track. And here he is in P14. And now we can go through the race results for race 1.
Yes, and it's Johnny Brandon taking the race victory here at Snetterton. He actually took race victory here in race 1 at Snetterton 2 seasons ago. Michael Abdoka, the other race victor there. Unfortunately, Abdoka with a real life injury, I believe, to his foot. So unfortunately, can't take part in the rest of the season. Hopefully, we'll see him back for next season. But Brandon with a second race victory at Snetterton. Of course, he will have to suffer that reverse grid next time. We'll soon find out what that is going to be. George McClay finished in second place. Can he take his first race victory of the season today? It's certainly a very good performance there. Nico Foggy started fifth, finished third, so not too bad a result for him. Hal Stadler up a couple of positions himself into fourth. Richard Warrior finished in fifth with Nikolai Bogotayev a solid sixth. Philip Antonio was 7th with Clyde Whiting, a fantastic 8th place from 12th on the grid. Fleet Smith in his first ever race, a very impressive 9th with Katie Rose Taranto, I believe with her best result of the season in 10th. Chris Jackson finished in 11th after contact with his teammate early on. He'll be hoping for a big reverse grid, with Andrew Hoffman finishing in 12th. There's Anthony Woodward and Gary Croft rounding out the drivers on the lead lap and will be eligible for the reverse grid. And then the drivers who were one lap down, Tony Klusman and Chris Colan, they did make contact with one another. Klusman with seemingly damage, perhaps, which ruled him out of the rest of the race. Michael Frost was the only retiree. And so, Marco, it is reverse grid time. We have spoken so much throughout the season. Why are the reverse grids so small? We've tried many things. We've tried different people, tried to spin the wheel. Will, at this final round of the championship, will we get a much larger reverse grid today?
We'll see. 14 is the biggest we can reverse. Gary Croft will be in pole position in that case. Let's bring the reverse wheel for the final time this season. On your screen, here it is. And yeah, let's roll it. We tried everything. This is also, our great honesty. We didn't, doctor the wheel. Oh, wow! Hanging on by a thread, it is 12.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
I think
the
it's the
largest
first,
reverse grid.
the first over 10, above 10, that we've had.
Yeah.
It was just like almost going to 9, but no, it's going to be 12, and that means Andrew Hoffman will have his pole position, Chris Jackson with a big chance from second, Katie Rose Taranto, Fleet Smith, and Clyde Whiting. So also the KSW, sorry, the Gentleman Trophy, the yellow branded cars, will have a nice platform to shine, at least at the very beginning of the second race, which will be as long as the first one. So, yeah, it's going to be another fantastic race, and of course, we'll keep an eye on the top runners who will basically be all together because Tony will start in 15th, but Brandon, McClay, Foggy, Steller, Wormingham, Bogatire will all be basically in front of him. So this is going to be quite an interesting second race today.
Absolutely. Chris Jackson's certainly probably the favourite for that one, starting on the front row of the grid. Could be his first race victory of the season, could be his first race victory outside of Phillip Island. So good luck to him, certainly for race 2. We'll be covering all the action on Apex Racing TV, and we'll see you back in about 20 minutes' time. Welcome back to the KSW Painting UV8 SuperCar series here from Snetterton Live on Apex Racing TV. Once again, I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again alongside me is Marco Barbinet. We're here at Snetterton, like I said, for the very final race of this Season 6 of this championship. And Marco, this race, it's an inauguration for Nicole Foggy. He has the points he needs. He came into this round about 250 points clear. He's still about 200 points clear over Tony Kliesman and Johnny Brandon. He can't really be beaten unless he got an incredible amount of penalty points. And so we're always reluctant to, call him champion, especially seeing that we don't have a live score count right here. But he's pretty much there, and he'll be delighted with what this season has turned out to be.
Absolutely, and it's absolutely, I think, a fantastic feeling for him to finally, put his hands on the trophy. And before that, we still have the small matter of one more race. Here we go with the starting grid for the third and final race of the night and of the season.
Yes, Science Garikoff on the pole position. Can he take his first ever victory in the UV8 Supercar Series? We're soon going to find out. Behind that is Michael Frost, Chris Coolan, Katie Rose Taranto. Can Tony Kliesman get a win? George McClay starts in 6th with Stadler, Antonia Whiting, and Woodward rounding out the top 10. Behind that is Woodward. Behind that is Warmingham, Bogotayev, Smith, Tanaka, Boggy, Jackson, and race 2 and race 1 winner Johnny Brandon. Andrew Hoffman starts in 18th position. Hopefully we'll have Hoffman on the grid because currently he is not. He's the only driver yet to appear on the grid out there. But everyone else is on the grid. It looks as though Hoffman isn't going to make it. We're still going to have 17 cars though for the final race of the season in Season 6 of the UV8 Supercar Series. And away we go at Snetterton. It's an awful start seemingly for Coolan down there. Caused a little bit of anarchy. Just behind it now, a massive crash. And that's going to involve a few other cars as well, I think. We'll get a bearing of who's that involved. But out in the lead is Guy Cross, still ahead of Frost. Good start for Kliesman and McClay and Antonia up 2, 2 and 3 positions respectively. Jackson has got a decent start. You got Foggy up 5 places. Great start for him. But it was Warmingham and Taranto, Smith and Stadler seemingly getting involved in that collision there as we got side by side between Foggy and Bogotayev. Foggy looking to get up 6 places. Brandon also pretty close on the tail as well. There could be contact maybe into this next corner, but Foggy makes the move pretty easy. And Antonio all of a sudden just falling down the order a little bit. As Brandon, off. So he's not going to be able to get the hat trick today. And he's right to the rear of the field, 17th and last.
Okay, so I have no idea how that crash at the start of the race didn't end up in a massive pileup. Because so one car flying through the air. Now we have cars all over the place on the front stretch.
Is down.
Yeah. Going very slowly.
And McClay's up into third place now. Antonia's up into second. Croft is sprinting away. Here comes McClay. Big move there from the pit side. Most well, Joe, as Antonia's off the circuit. Great opportunity at the podium, but now he's lost a few positions in very quick succession. There goes Kliesman back up into the top 3, but that mistake at the end of the last lap maybe has cost him. We got 3 wide going through turns 2 and 3. Contacts amongst everyone. Bogotayev really getting shuffled down the order, and Antonia didn't turn out too bad for him. Frost ahead of Jackson as well. Foggy benefited a little bit from that. Whiting's doing fantastic in 5th place currently, as we're going to have more side by side. Stadler on the outside of Woodward there. As on goes Frost and nearly takes out Bogotayev. What a crazy lap 2 this has been. Wow.
It's a bit of a mess, this final race of the season, and I still cannot wait to go back to the start of the race, but now it's not nearly the time to do so, as we have many drivers trying to sort themselves out. Gary Croft, 4.5 seconds over George McClay, so great chance for him as Philip Antonia heads for the pits, maybe a penalty. Too bad for him. Let's see now. McClay Klusterman is up to third. Chris Coughlin and Clyde Whiting in fourth. And Foggy, Tanaka, Jackson. So the biggest losers, I would say, Antonia and Johnny Brandon and Michael Frost. Really, Johnny was really unlucky there. We will get a replay very soon. And we are side by side between Tanaka and I think that should be Whiting and Jackson, the 3 NQR cars coming towards the chicane.
We've already seen contact between NQR drivers today. And just about squeezing through there is Tanaka. Whiting made it difficult for him. And is Whiting going to lose another position here? This time to Chris Jackson, who's had a bit of a mare of a day after a struggling race 1. Got caught up in an incident through no faults of his own in race 2. But trying to get past his teammate here, Whiting potentially could understay into him. But that is nice driving there from Chris Jackson up into 7th place as we got off. Anthony Woodward. Brandon also off, so he's having a mare himself out there. And yeah, Frost, of course, already far down the order. Taranto and Antonio had to take repairs from earlier on, and now we are going to try to get in this race, this replay. And what on earth happened to Taranto here? Awful start from Colin, I think it was. Ironically, he wasn't the driver who got involved.
I have no idea how that didn't become a disaster. Let's watch the first lap on board with Johnny and see. He was basically starting in last, so I think he saw everything happen in front of him, and then of course he had his issue at the chicane. Let's see. And this is the worst thing you can see at the start of a race, basically, even though it, it seemed like nothing has happened. Even though there was a car flying in the air, but oh wow, he's really pushing hard. Let's see. Gets hit into the hairpin. Some cars going left and right, but it was the best hairpin of the night. Now we should have some drama.
Yeah, that was alongside Anthony Woodward. Just getting past him.
Oh, on his own.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, he was already flirting with danger in the few corners prior, almost using the car, so it was about time. And Brandon, half a chance at a race win perhaps there. Now we've got Tanaka and Jackson. Jackson goes straight past. Some team play there. And so Jackson, how far off the lead is he? Well, in fact, he's 7 seconds behind Foggy. Really did lose a lot of time there. Croft is doing superbly though. Could he be on course for his first ever race victory in this series? He's still 3 seconds ahead. It's inevitable that he's going to get caught. The question is, how many laps is he going to have to fend for? But right now, this is what a fantastic final race of the season this could be, because we've got Croft, the slowest out there, leading the way. Then we've got McClay and Klusman, decently fast. And then we've got Foggy and Jackson, who are the fastest out there, who are rapidly closing in. We could have a 5-way battle for the race victory by the end of this 18-lap race. Johnny Brandon, though, still down in 12th place. He's not going to be able to feature in this one, but he is quite close to Richard Warringham, his own teammate. Quite inevitable how that is going to go between the two of them. Seeing that XVR2 work fantastically as a team together. Also got Bogatyrev versus Stadler out there. And also Tanaka and Jackson still relatively close, and Colin versus Bogatyrev. Plenty of battles still going on out there. There's Tanaka just dropping down the order, and that's why he's off the circuit.
Yes, he is. And he's now behind him is Brandon. I think Johnny will try to pass him as soon as possible.
Yeah, an odd mistake there from Tanaka, because he was driving pretty well. He's been driving well today on the whole. And now he's under pressure from Brandon. Can Brandon get the move done into turn 1, or will they work together to make some moves up ahead? Tanaka, a little bit of a late move to the inside, blocking his rival. Can Brandon find the inside going into the next corner? We go back to second position because McLean now only 2.5 seconds behind. He took out exactly half a second. And still, Brandon can't get that move done on Tanaka.
And also sideways, as you can see there, so he has to wait a bit. I thought that McLean was closing in on Croft, and he's doing so, but at the same time, the real battle is going to be between Tony and McLean first. The gap between them is less than a second, and Tony is clearly pushing hard to make, to redeem himself after a bad race 1 and a bad race 2. So we know he has the pace, as per usual, being the final round of the season, of course. Not even today my dog couldn't resist coming into my room during the broadcast, but she ran away immediately. So, yeah, let's go back to the race then. And we could have a very tasty fight for the race win. We have 3 drivers very close to each other. Gary Croft, you can see him here. McLean second, Klusterman in third, Foggy, don't count him out. And Jackson is a bit more behind. Let's move quickly to Brandon because he's trying once again to get past Tanaka.
Yep, and they got a couple of other drives just ahead of them. That is, you got Colin and then Stadler, Warmium, Tanaka, and Brandon right at the rear of this chain. Colin's under pressure from Stadler, did get overtaken by Bogotayev on the last lap, and looks like Chris is going to lose another position, but still, very good performance from him on his debut race. Stadler looking every which way, but yeah, not too confident on the exit there, supporting that fantastic livery.
Yeah, he's gotta have some massive damage because of the crash at the start. Remember, he was turned basically, and then when he was turned, that was the catalyst of the big mess that we had. But now we have a proper mess with these 5 cars, all fighting for 8th place. Absolutely, there is no room available for any of these guys, and some of these participants will certainly want to be much higher, in the standings, but sadly for them, they are relegated to fighting for the back end of the top 10 as Bogotayev goes wide. Now there's a big fight side by side, and I think that yes, that is
Tanaka going tried to go past Colin, and he does make it. And now Brandon's going to get held up. Oh, he won't be pleased with that one. Chris, nothing wrong that he did there. This is 4th position, of course. Brandon, well, he's going to just knock on the door. Can I please come down the inside? And Chris says, sure, why not? And Warmingham tries it as well, but in a rather more extravagant manner. And, well, he manages to hold on to the car. That was very impressive.
We had another moment where we flirted with disaster in this 3rd race, and luckily they all got away with it. But this fight for 2nd place is now basically inevitable, and we are seeing that McLean has been able to, like I said, close the gap on Gary Croft, but Klusterman has been even quicker in closing the gap between himself and McLean. So I think this could be the best thing that I would say, even though he's in a tough position, Croft must be very happy about this, because the more they fight, the more he can get away. He knows he is not as quick as these guys. He knows, he's a gentleman driver, so it is expected to him not be the same pace of these guys. I don't think we've had a gentleman win in the season. I mean, in the past 2-3 seasons, at least since I started commentating, and this despite having so many different winners week in and week out. So this shows how competitive this championship is and how well done the division between gentlemen and regular drivers is. This is a great chance. Of course, it's still a long way to go. 7 laps, which don't seem like much, but for poor Gary, I think they should be, they could be, almost impossible to comprehend how big and how long these 7 laps will be.
Absolutely. One of the best races, I think, in the history of this series was Lime Rock back in Season 4. A few races before, of course, you joined this championship, Marco. And on that day, it was JP Bousselin, Jean-Philippe Bousselin, who managed to win at Lime Rock. and kind of just everything went his way. Fantastic strength of depth in that race, but of course difficult to overtake around that circuit. And I think he had maybe Chris Jackson just behind him, who wasn't particularly fast. He was kind of fending off all the other cars from him, and BSO managed to hang on for the entire race, where they heard of top race-winning drivers and won that race. Croft's victory today would certainly rival the awesomeness of that one just over a year ago. That was we just cut to Brandon getting past Tanaka, I think, and Brandon now up into 9th position, just behind Stadler. The gap between the top two, though, I did say earlier on, it's inevitable that he's going to catch him, George McClay, and now on lap 12, that has occurred. The question is, can he hang on for now 6 and a bit more laps? Well, it's going to be tough for the 28 car. And remember, Croft and McClay haven't won a race all season long. So this is a superb opportunity for the pair of them. And Croft will see this as perhaps his only chance at a race victory. Next season, hopefully he'll come back stronger, but really has never found himself in this situation. Meanwhile, McClay will feel, well, I'm due this race victory by now. I really ought to win this one at the last attempt. And of course, Klinsmann and Foggy are decently competitive as well. So what an enthralling final 6 laps we are in for now.
Yes, absolutely. The champion-elect Nicole Foggy wants to end the season at least with another podium, as we have a
Oh,
change for the
McClay
lead and
clearly
a
went
big
contact.
contact.
So McClay is up into the race lead. Will Croft let his teammate pass here? No, not seemingly. Oh, sorry, Croft, I don't think is part of any, it isn't
No,
part of
yeah,
NQR,
it is
sorry.
NQR, sorry. I mean,
Oh, he
it's
is, okay.
my mistake in the graphics when I played them tonight. Yes, driving for NQR, I don't know which NQR, but certainly NQR. So we have a new leader now, George McClay. Croft holding on in second, Klusterman third, and Foggy in fourth. Remains to be seen how big the damage is, because that was a pretty hefty hit. It was door to door, so usually better than have it on the quarter panel, but still it was a pretty big hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that seemed to be quite important in Jackson's demise in race in race uh,
Two.
2, it wasn't it? Yeah, and so yeah, could be quite costly for either of the leading two. But at the moment, at least Croft is hanging on well. Now, 1 second ahead is George McClay. And it's so important for Klinsmann to get this move done quickly. But here comes Foggy down the inside. Puts his nose there, but, well, that almost seemed to be going in slow motion as the V8 Supercar, the Holden V8 Supercar, slowed down. And, yeah, Foggy couldn't quite make it. Remains in 4th position. Jackson catching these guys at about a second a lap currently. Tanaka also pretty close to the back of Stadler. McClay now 21 seconds ahead of Brandon. That's how much time Brandon lost earlier on. Tanaka trying to get that move done at the moment. We've also got Bogotayev close on the tail. How impressive has Bogotayev been in the latter part of this season? Consistently been fighting for best of the rest. Whereas I think before he was maybe a little bit detached, Marco. I think that entire pack of particularly Stadler and Bogotayev really have improved, and Croft as well. Really have improved their performances this season.
Yeah, Bogotayev especially a renaissance season for him. I remember him. He was already a part of the championship when I joined. As another move now on the outside, which will become
Oh,
the
that's a
inside.
move.
And Foggy somehow takes the position. Poor Tony Klusterman. He has been a punching bag today. He has been hit and hit and hit by almost all of his competitors. And now he's also out of the podium spots as Tanaka and Stedler on the screen. And this corner is really prone to that kind of contact, by the way, because the way it twists and turns really puts the drivers, especially if you don't have triples or VR, which Tony has, by the way. Tony has VR, if I'm not mistaken. It really puts you in a position, but also the other driver needs to have VR or triples, otherwise you have basically no idea. As that's a nice move from Tanaka. He was up to P8, but good work for Al Stadler because his car is absolutely destroyed.
So Jackson moving past Klosterman. You think what could have been if they hadn't have crashed into each other at this corner in race 1 on the very first lap. And you think what could have happened for Jackson in race 2. Also, I don't know, Marco, if we could just go back to lap 1. I think it was lap 1 because Klosterman had a bit of an issue coming out of the last corner on lap 1. And lost quite a bit of time. And that maybe decided this race because he was ahead of McClay, I believe, at the time, fighting with Croft, and then all of a sudden dropped back. And well, maybe if it weren't for that, he would be in a much better position. This is with Frost, and so you can see he's ahead of McClay. And Frost, oh dear.
Bad luck there. Very, very bad luck. Don't tell me how we managed to get back to that at the first time of asking, because the first lap, as you can imagine, is a complete mess. You know, on the event viewer. Great, once again, the SDK gaming software really coming, you know, in handy as we are entering the penultimate lap. And let me give a shout out to KSW Paintings, because with the end of this race and of this championship, it also ends their sponsorship on this for this series, and it has been absolutely great, you know, to have them on board. New sponsor coming for next season, so don't worry. I'm quite sure we will be back. I don't know if it makes you happy or not to have me and Sam back on Saturday nights, but
I
yes.
won't necessarily be us.
Oh
The
yeah, you know.
the Apex Racing TV overlords may have had enough of us.
Oh, that is quite correct. But
All the drivers, you know, with our curses and that.
I know that you know the you know the higher ups of this championship for some reason really like our work. So you know maybe they can convince the overlords to keep us in our position for next season, as well as we had some netcode contact there, some luck contact I saw between Foggy and Croft. White flag is in the air, so McClay running towards his first victory of the season, and I think of his Euro V8 career, with the champion-elect Nicole Foggy desperately trying to get into second place, with Croft being the leader of the club championship race.
Yeah, we're
Great
going to have the
defending.
2 champions, aren't we?
Yeah.
Crossing the line. Gary Croft, this will be the points he needs, with Clyde White having a good result in 7th place, but still won't be enough to overhaul those points. And Nicole Foggy leading the way in the Pro Championship and the overall championship as Foggy looks to the outside. Couldn't make it though, and I think that should be it. Not a fantastic corner though from Croft, but he does edge a few meters away as out in the lead, George McClay. How close has he been for the entire season for Pitstone Motorsports? He's had many second places. He had a second place in race 1 today, had a second place at Nürburgring as well earlier on in the season. But finally, at the last time of racing, George McClay will cross the line and he wins race 3 at Snetterton. Just behind Gary Croft and Nico Foggy are your champions for season 6 of the Euro V8 Supercar Series. Croft, the champion, Foggy, the overall, and they both thoroughly deserve it. We've got side by side in the final corner. That's Tanaka and Stadler, and here comes Bogotayev. Bogotayev kept his foot in, and he might just, no, he did have to back out of it in the end. Just stays behind Stadler and Tanaka to the line. Absolutely fantastic racing right to the finish of this season. And Marco, just a word on our championship winners, because you know, Nicole Foggy, you tipped him at the start of the season.
Did
when
I?
We had I think we can go back to that broadcast that we did where we did a season 5 review, and we said who we reckon would win the championship, and I believe you said Nicole Foggy. I went with Tony Kleistman, but you said Nicole Foggy, and you absolutely got it perfect.
I will have to go back to that particular broadcast then, and you know, see because. But I trust you. I trust you that it was the what I said, because you know I usually don't get it right, but this time I did, as we have someone doing donuts. It's Chris Jackson finishing in 4th. And we have someone going backwards. It's Johnny Brandon. He's entertaining the crowd. Disappointingly, no donuts for the championship winner. Uh, Nicole Foggy immediately told back to the pits. I guess he wants to get the hands on the trophy in a hurry. But before that, let's go to the final race results for race 3.
Yes, and it's George McClay finally taking his first race victory of the season. Not sure if he's won any races in this championship in previous seasons, but that's certainly his first of the season. Well done to him. Guy Croft, his best result in this championship ever, in second place, and it could have been a win. Maybe a small mistake at turn one just cost him in the end. Nicole Foggy, a very strong third place, and he is the champion by quite a comfortable margin in the end. He was undoubtedly the best driver this season and rounds it off with a podium. Chris Jackson, in the end, winless at the end of the season, but he was only 7 seconds off the win today and, was very close elsewhere in the championship as well. 16th to 4th for him. Nice drive to finish off the season. Tony Klusman was in the wars throughout today, finishes in 5th place and finishes the championship in 3rd place because Johnny Brandon his earlier 2 victories today and rounds it off with a 6th place. Quite a mare of a race that. But, he'll still be pleased with his 6 race victories across the season. Clyde Whiting finished in 7th place, a really good day for him and another driver who has improved greatly as the season's gone on. Hal Stadler in 8th with Victor Tanaka and Nikolai Bogatyv, those 3 having an absolutely fantastic run to the line. Richard Warming finished in 11th with Fleet Smith and Chris Cooler rounding out their debut races today in 12th and 13th. There's Michael Frost in 14th. And then the retirees, we had a few of them in the end. Katie Reyes Taranto, Anthony Woodward, Philip Antonia, and Andrew Hoffman, unfortunately, did not take the start. Now, hopefully, we'll have interviews with drivers, and guess what? We absolutely do. And you know what? We'll have a chat with the pair, then the 2 teammates, Nicole Foggy and Johnny Branton. And first off, of course, we'll go to the championship winner, Nicole. Well done out there, ever so close last season, and you finally got your hands on that trophy.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. A bit of luck involved. Like I'm not always the fastest. Like Tony's fast. Chris isn't there that often. Well, hasn't been here as much, but he's fast as well. George is very fast, and Johnny, I think, is faster than me in general. So it's been a bit of luck that has got me the title this year, anyway, this season. So we'll see what happens next season.
But maybe last season, a few races didn't go your way, particularly in the first half of the season. You were involved in a couple of collisions, but this season, you've pretty much evaded all of that. And once again today, wasn't necessarily the fastest driver, like you said, but 3 third positions. It's just consistent points finishes like that which have brought you this title.
Yeah, I did try to be consistent. I don't think I'm that good at pushing too hard, and maybe that's why I don't make too many mistakes. Although I still make plenty, but maybe a bit less than other people sometimes. So yeah, who knows?
He has had more wins than anybody else this year, I might just add.
Yes.
It's not all down to pacing himself.
Well, you did manage to even that out a little bit though today, Johnny. Well done for your 2 race victories. That race 2 in particular, everyone else was getting caught up in crashes, and you just streamlined through all of it.
Yeah, got pretty lucky there, to say the least. And then my luck ran out in the third one. I probably had to pay the price for the benefit of the second race. But yeah, I was pretty lucky in the second race. Surprised to get pole, to be honest. George has been flying. Tony's been flying. But I think we keep kind of saying this. We're surprised to get pole, surprised to get pole. In practice, they're very, very quick. So genuinely, we were quite surprised to get on pole there. I was. And it made all the difference in race 1. Our car struggled a little bit for the first lap or 2, which you may have noticed, a little bit scruffy. But then after that, it was great, just cruising, and yeah, it worked well. But like I say, my luck went out in race 3. But I quite enjoyed it trying to come back. So yeah, it was fun. Good evening. But congratulations to Nickel, thoroughly deserved on the championship. Well done, mate.
Well, thank you very much, buddy.
Well, of course, looking forward to next season. Will you two and your teammates be back to fend off your title?
I probably will be. I keep getting this cramp, and it's just from the V8s, I think. Just because I tense up so much because you need such control. I just get this really bad cramp in my legs, so I'm gonna take a bit of a break, not a full break, like I'll be racing a bit, but a bit more of a kind of long break from racing as intensely as I have to try and relax those muscles.
You know,
I get this really bad pain in the back of my neck
Oh, yeah.
all the
That
time. Yeah, but it sounds like he might not be coming back next season, so I should be all right.
And of
I'm
course,
surprised that Sam hasn't talked about what I think was the biggest ingredient in Nicole's championship push, the thing that really made the difference, from last season, and of course it was the switch to the Ford, which once again, second title in a row for the Falcon, and two drivers switched to the Ford, and two drivers won the title back to back. So who's going to switch next season? I wonder.
We'll see.
I'm quite interested to see if how we got on between me and Tony for second. I'm not normally worried about a second place. However, there seems to be a what's the word I'm looking for? Whoever comes second in the series does well the following year.
Yeah,
So
true.
yes, of course.
I had quite a good night compared to Tony. I think I didn't actually pay too much attention to the results, but I think he had a bit of a struggle with 1 and 2, and there was only 50 points between us, and I got the bonus in race 1 as well as the win. So it might be quite interesting. It'd be nice to get second, but
Yeah, it's now 2 seasons in a row where the second place driver of the previous year wins the title. So we'll see if the magic repeats again in season 7. Then, so
are you
I
listening,
honestly,
Nicole?
Yeah.
I cannot wait for the new season to come. But it has been an absolute pleasure, guys, to have you fight on the track and coming for the interviews. And as per usual, we always say this: it is always, we love all the series we cover, but this is the one we have in our hearts the most. And it is, it's also very nice to know that there will be a sponsor for next season already secured. So yeah, I already
Definitely.
cannot wait for season 7. And thank you guys for being, a big part of this show.
Well, thank you to both of you for commentating. Always enjoy it, as I always say. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and we'll both be back and maybe fight a little bit harder next season. And yeah, such a fun car and such a great friendly league, really welcoming. Everybody's helps each other. No one takes it too seriously. Although you have to take it fairly seriously, but it's so enjoyable, and yeah, I'll definitely be back. Hopefully, Nico will be as well. So look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank you to the pair of you, and sure, we'll see you very soon on Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'll catch you guys soon.
Well, that was Johnny Brandon and Nicole Foggy. Well, who are we going to have a chat with? Who do you fancy having a chat with, Marco?
I love to have a talk with Arash Stadler, and he should be on in the booth right now. Hello, Harald.
Hello, Marco. Hello, Sam.
So, welcome to the booth. And first of all, let me say that livery you were running tonight was absolutely gorgeous. And it was so beautiful that Sam installed finally the paint pack on the final round of the season. I convinced him after telling him how beautiful your car was. Congratulations, because it was quite simply a striking livery. Congratulations, and of course for a very important, I think, character in for your country and also for motorsport fans in general, like Niki Lauda.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like it. I hope the viewers also liked it. Yeah, I thought I put that on for the last race. Well, of course, Niki Lauda was one of my first heroes. I was 5 or 6 back then with his accident and everything and whatever. And after his Ferrari days, that was the first time I really recognized him when he was driving the Brabhams, and the Brabhams were my first favorite cars in Formula One back then. So yeah, I just had to put that on for today.
So it has been one long season, and it has been a season when I think you can be quite happy about the way you drove and the things that you've learned. Because this is a car that really needs a lot of experience to be quick in, and you seemed like you were quite comfortable from the very beginning of the championship.
In fact, I struggled a bit in the first two races, but I guess that's normal. But then, yeah, I was really surprised that I could keep up with the pace of most in the rest of the season. So yeah, I think I held P5 now after the season. Should be no change, I guess. Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm not. I'm really surprised that I am that good in my first season, but there's still a long way to go. Even today, I had some frustrating moments where I thought, "What the hell?" In practice, I'm 2 or 3 tenths of the pace of those aliens, and in the race, it's again a second. WTF? So yeah, still a long way to go to be somehow consistent, and incidents today didn't help
So
the
from
results either.
from what you're saying, I guess you will be then back for next season then.
Yes, I plan to be back. Yeah, of course. That's a really nice championship. I like the V8s and the type of championship and how the season is running with the different formats. That's absolutely my taste of racing. So yeah, I will be back.
Well, Arad, congratulations on your debut season. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, of course, you for the very nice streams. I always watch them after the race. I first take a shower, and then the next thing is watching your stream. And of course, the organizers, Clyde, and all the others for this beautiful league. And yeah, also thank you to this series sponsor for making that happen. Uh, and yeah, welcome to the new series sponsor, Race Tech, to next season. Yeah,
Thank you very much, Harald. Congratulations once again, and catch you in the next season.
yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
And that was Harald Stadler. Now we have quite the queue. Who are we going to
Yes.
take next?
Well, seeing that I think I said this earlier on, I think we should have an interview with Fleet Smith because he did an absolutely superb job today. Fleet, well done. 3 really good races on your race debut in this series.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's just want to say something about the series here. They've been super welcoming, even here in my first race, and just it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, the second race was something. That was a lot of fun. I saw the 555 marching down on me at the end, but despite me messing up my tire pressures for that race with a car that was both understeering and oversteering at the same time, managed to hold on. So.
Yeah, really impressive in that race too. Did you see what happened in the opening stages in that race too, or was it all kind of kicking off behind you?
I believe I snuck through. Someone spun through the first turn, and I was able to sneak behind them. And I'm sorry, through the hairpin, I believe actually, and I was able to sneak behind them. And then I believe all that unfolded afterwards. So that definitely did play a part in that success of that race. But hey, still brought home a top 5.
And this circuit at Snetterton, it's quite a unique track. But do you think the V8 supercar goes particularly well around here?
Oh, absolutely. It was an absolute blast. And actually, up until this week, about 3 days ago, I had never even seen Snetterton, so I picked it up and threw the supercar around it. And I don't think I ever stopped smiling.
Well, looking forward to next season. Can we expect to see a bit more of you?
I will hope so. Definitely hope so. This is, like I say, it's been a great first Saturday here in this series, and if I can make it work in my schedule, absolutely.
Well, it's been great to talk to you, Fleet. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Just in general, the iRacing community and or at least the V8 Supercars community, especially in this league. Setups available. Everybody's very friendly. Everybody's very helpful because it is a little bit of a monster at times and takes some patience. But yeah, just in general, everybody's been great and me trying to come to grips with this car. So
Well, thanks, Fleets, and hopefully we'll see you soon on Apex Racing TV.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much.
Well, next up, Marco, who are we going to have a chat with?
Well, we have a couple of interviews left. So first of all, let's get Victor Tanaka. Hello, Victor.
Hello.
So nice to have you back for this final round of the season. You have certainly been, not always present, but where you are when you are racing, it's always, guaranteed that entertainment. Today was no different. How was the racing from your perspective tonight?
That's what I tell my teammates. Like I only show up, to make a good show for you guys. So for example, in race 3, I let Chris by, and I was in 4th place, and it was gonna be a boring race, from that point on. But I decided to make a mistake and join a huge battle all the way to the end of the race. So it seems like I just always go for the for the tough battles. But it was
Y-
fun. Both races were a lot of fun.
you make our job easier. But yeah, I mean, we were wondering with Sam. We wonder every time you come here if next season you are going to commit full time because you really seem to be to like this car and be a very recognizable name in the championship. What about next season for you? Will you be doing more rounds or will you remain as a every once in a while kind of
There's a wild
participation?
card.
Yeah, wildcard. Yeah, it was.
No, no, I'm gonna show up more definitely. I'm not sure, if I still have the, all the passion that these guys do, to practice, 2 weeks before and do laps and this and that to find every 10th. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be, fighting for the championship, but I'll definitely be fighting for those podiums and race wins, when opportunities there.
Awesome. I would like to ask you about the next race, but there is no next race. So before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Just my teammates and especially Clyde. He got us a very good sponsorship. So very good job, by him. Everybody in the team and in the league, everybody's pretty hyped about it. So it's a great job by him to achieving that.
Thank you very much, Victor, and catch you next season then.
Thank you. Same for you guys. Thanks all for the broadcast.
Okay, that was Victor Tanaka then, driver for NQR. And now, last but not least, Sam, we have a talk with the powers that be, the higher ups of this championship, of course. It is Clyde Whiting, and he is waiting there with you.
Good
Yes.
evening.
The supreme leader. Clyde, firstly, a word on your races today. Really good, weren't they? I think 2 top 10s, a 7th place to round off the championship. You must be really happy with that.
Yeah, it's a track I should know well. I live around the corner. We did the sprint races here last weekend, and it was absolute rubbish. So I did a few things with our setup that you really shouldn't do for road racing, and it seemed to work. It just made the car last all of the time. Plus, there was a lot of carnage as well, which helped. So yeah, all good. Good end to the season for me.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit disappointing in the way that you were just off the championship in the end. I think Gary with that fantastic final race just edged you by probably only less than 100 points, but fantastic championship fighting between the pair of you.
Yeah, and there's I did a few calculations midweek, and we've got quite a few more drivers that have qualified for the club championship next season. So it should be even more exciting with Gary trying to defend his title. I think Ant Woodward's back. Me, the bridesmaid, always runner up in it. I'll be there, plus a few others. So yeah, it's a good addition to the championship. It gives us slower drivers something to aim for in the season.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to actually, just a word on this season. Firstly, just another really good season for the championship. The fact that we got 18 drivers turning up for the last round of the championship just shows how much fun this series is. The fact that people are willing to stick around for all 11 rounds.
Yeah, we always seem to struggle towards the end of the season. But we've got. I'll talk a bit more about it in a little while. But we've got a new sponsor on board for next season. Our advertising is going to get a lot better. We've got the sprint series that we're going to run that is hopefully going to encourage a few more people into the car and then into the main league from that. And then, on the back burner, there's also the promise of new cars from iRacing. So, if that bears fruit, as with all new cars on iRacing, thousands of people go out and buy them, and leagues swell for a little while. So we'll see how that goes. But on the whole, I think this season has been, very, very good. It's probably been our best one so far. All that we've gained some really good drivers this year. I think everybody in the whole league is getting faster season after season after season. So you do some pre-season testing, and you think, you know what, I'm a hell of a lot quicker than I was last season. And then you turn up for media day, and so is everybody else. So but that's the way racing is supposed to be, and that's what a competitive season does to drivers. It does make them want to go quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a word on next season as well. Any significant change? Of course, we've got that new sponsor, which is absolutely fantastic. Which is means that, of course, the league's still free to enter if anyone wants to join, obviously. And really important
Excuse me.
that sponsor deal you got.
Yeah, obviously, I'd like to say a big thank you to Klaus Winther and KSW Painting for sponsoring us for the last 12 months. Klaus let me know in plenty of time that he couldn't sponsor us again after this season. So we went out looking. I must have had 75 knockbacks, I reckon. Andrew Hoffman has been crazing every company in Australia. And then Gary Croft came up with Race Tech, spoke to David at Race Tech, and we had a deal in place within a matter of days. It's an exciting partnership. They're a company that deals with real racing that are also looking to get into the sim market. And we're looking at a long-term partnership. So, for the league, it's brilliant news.
Yeah, absolutely. And fantastic sponsorship deal, that one, absolutely. And before we let you go, Clyde, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
From a personal point of view, obviously my wife Katie for letting me disappear upstairs and do this racing. The team, NQR, Tony and the guys. I don't get as much time as I would like for practicing, but the guys always come up with a setup that I can either go a bit quicker than I did last time we was here, or I can tweak to go a bit quicker. So big thanks to everybody in the team. From a league point of view, obviously I've already said thanks to Klaus. Thanks to all the drivers that have driven this year. We will be announcing next season early next week. There is going to be a few minor tweaks, and we have got a special race coming up as well. And obviously at the end of next season, just I know it's a long time away. The sun's shining, it's very hot, but we've got our Christmas race of champions to look forward to, so that's always good fun. And lastly, to you guys, you two now pretty much know every driver in the league better than your own family. The commentary is fantastic. The cameras are fantastic. I've spoken to Alex. We've done the deal. We'll all be back together again for next season. And I can't wait to go again.
Yeah, we can't wait either. Thanks, Clyde, a lot for organising this series and keeping us a job. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, catch you later, guys.
Well, I think, Marco, that pretty much rounds off the season.
Yeah,
They do fly by, don't
they
they?
do fly
We've
by,
now covered
absolutely.
2.5 of these series pretty much as a commentary team, and this one has just been another fantastic championship. And once again, it is now 5 different championship winners in 5 seasons in this series. You'd be hard pressed to find another championship with a record anything like that.
Yes, we had a fantastic season once again, fantastic final round, and we were speculating about, future of the series on Apex Racing TV during the broadcast, and we got the confirmation, and we also, I think, got the confirmation that yes, we will not be out of a job come next season. And honestly, I'm already waiting and cannot wait for the calendar reveal, and the fact that. Clyde was talking about a special event. If you remember last year, this time we had in between the 2 seasons, we had Enduro, the 4-hour Enduro at Road America, and I'm totally, it was the Le Mans day, the real Le Mans day, so 2 weeks last year to this day, basically, and we totally love to do that once again. Nice Enduro. So yeah, I mean, this championship is really looking good, and it has certainly a great future ahead. And we say this, it's already been 6 seasons, so make it say we have to train not to say the wrong sponsor name next season when we start the broadcast, because I've been a couple of times you were not here. I called the Pen Power Euro V8 Championship a couple
Oh
of times.
dear.
So now we really need to, and race tech sounds very, very nice, and certainly it won't be hard for us to learn it. So yeah, I mean, what can I say more? We have an upcoming week, which is a bit, a week, sort of week off, of course, because iRacing will enter week 13, so most of the series will not run, but some will, and we will have on Wednesday the Dynamics Sim Racers World GT3 series, and that will be at 19 GMT. And I believe we will also have on Saturday at 12 GMT the final round of the Sim Racers Asia GT series from Road America. And I think, of course, as per usual, week 13 that will be that. But even in week 13 we have something to. Hopefully, Racing collaborates with us, because it's always a bit of a hit and miss. Week 13 Racing is can be tricky, especially from maintenance and all that nice stuff. I think the BSR series, of course, the Mazdas will take a break, and I think also the BSRTC will take a break. But yeah, you will hear from us again on Wednesday, so you cannot escape, I think.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a few races next week. Unfortunately, we're not going to have any special events during week 13. Of course, I'm doing, exams and that education, so I haven't got round to doing that. It would have been fun to do something around Silverstone, especially if they got the rallycross circuit included. Not quite sure if they have
No,
got that.
only the for now they say, they left the possibility open for getting the rallycross and the stow layouts in, but for now it's only the Grand Prix track and its variants, basically, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we'll certainly look forward to that, along with plenty of other things coming to the iRacing service soon. But for now, from season 6, your 2 champions are Nicole Foggy, your pro champion. Your AM champion is Guy Crott. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this season of the UV8 Supercar series, and no doubt we will be back in just about a month or maybe 2 months' time for season 7 of this fantastic championship. Hopefully, you will not miss it. We certainly won't. We'll be back then. So from me and from Marco as well, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.